October 31st, happy Halloween. This was also my first, or Halloween week, this was my first time teaching my own lesson. So that was interesting. I mainly covered the science lesson, but in math, my peer did an amazing job at going over collect and represent data in a scaled bar graph and solve related problems. So this week they went over, since we had to teach this lesson, I have the whole packet. They practiced identifying bar graphs and knowing what they're counting by. So identifying the title of, telling you what the bar graph is laying out for you. Reading the side of the bar graph and seeing if it's counting by ones, tens, fives, twos, so on and so on. And then reading the bottom to see what is actually being done on the graph. So just real quick, the students worked on a lot of what do you notice and wonder this week. It was like, I wonder why students voted fewer on this or that. I wonder why it's different numbers. It says it's 70 in the first graph, but 700 in the second graph. Just a lot of notice and wonder and asking themselves questions to get their brains really thinking. Then they went on to do their own problems. They would be given a chart that looks like this, and they would be asked, how many more white cars are in the school parking lot on Tuesday than blue cars? How do you know? And they would say, there's 10 white cars, 20 minus 10 equals 10. Just simple addition or subtraction. Or it's like, how many fewer blue cars are in the school parking lot on Tuesday than black cars? How do you know? 30 fewer blue cars, 40 minus 10 is 30. Simple things like this, and then they would have to explain themselves because they would have to see why, how do you know that based on these numbers, because there's huge gaps. How do you know? Count the little dashes. So then it would be because I skip counted by 5s to get from 0 to 20, 5, 10, 15, 20. So they're practicing skip counting, as well as they're not even aware of it yet, but they'll further get on to practicing multiplication and things that are more like this, because eventually they'll be given their own information and they will have to put it in a bar graph, meaning they'll have to draw it out like so on things like this problem, and these numbers wouldn't be there on their paper, and they would have to see what the data they're given on this chart. This is what their end product would look like. They would have to skip count and see what's, with my data of 25, 30, 50, and 15, should I skip count by 1s, 2s, 5, 10s? What would be the most effective way to skip count? So they had to think about that, and then they plotted their own chart. And they were just doing a lot of what do I notice and what do I wonder to get their brains turning about questions about bar graphs.